Shocking news has emerged. Kim Jong-chul, the eldest son of Kim Jong Il, has chosen to defect to South Korea with his family from Europe. After a dramatic escape evading North Korean authorities, he's now confirmed to be under the protection of the South Korean government in a secure location. Here's his story. Your subscription and likes help bring North Korea's hidden truths to light. My name is Kim Jong-chul, Kim Jong-il's eldest son. The story I'm about to tell isn't about power. It's about risking everything to protect my family. It was last winter. I was living in a European city. Quiet, peaceful. Christmas decorations hung on the streets. People walked by, smiling. For someone born in Pyongyang, it was deeply ironic. I lived there under a false name, Park Min-soo. At parent-teacher meetings, at the grocery store, I was just another ordinary Korean father. Every morning, I made my daughter breakfast, drank coffee with my wife, walked in the park, listened to classical music and read books. On the surface, a comfortable life abroad. But beneath that calm, tension never left. Someone came to our house 2 or 3 times a week. We called him the handler. Officially, he was there for my safety. In reality, he was surveillance. He checked what I did, who I met, and reported everything to Pyongyang. I knew my phone was tapped. Still, I endured. This was my fate, especially after my younger brother Jong Un was named successor. Before father passed, he told me something. Live quietly. That's how you survive. But around that fall, things changed. The handler came more often. His questions shifted. Who was I contacting lately? Any South Korean connections? At first, I thought it was routine. One night, my daughter asked me something. Why can't we go to Korea? Her friends had traveled to Seoul, and she was curious. I stroked her hair and promised I'd take her someday. That night, I couldn't sleep. Would this child ever live freely? A few days later, the handler came again. Different this time. Tension written all over his face. He asked carefully, had I heard news from Pyongyang? Did I know Ju-ae was appearing in public more often? My heart sank. Ju-ae, my niece, Jong-un's daughter. Her repeated public appearances meant one thing. She was being groomed as successor. The handler said one last thing. Your brother's health isn't good these days. After that day, I changed. Every morning I wondered, will we be safe today? Looking back, I was already a ghost. Alive, but not existing. I had to disappear so someone else's crown could be complete. And so, winter deepened. After the handler's words, I started paying attention to Pyongyang news. Even abroad, I could access North Korean coverage. Searching my niece's name online brought up countless articles. Photos of Ju-ae smiling next to her father, sitting in military parade viewing stands, observing missile launches, meeting military officials. She was still young, but already appearing at these events. The headlines were telling, successor, succession, next leader. Seeing those photos stirred something strange in me. Not jealousy or anger. Anxiety. The person who wears the crown may rest easy, but those who must be cleared away for that crown, they never rest. North Korean history proved that. Every time the succession was solidified, someone disappeared. Faces came to mind. Father's siblings, uncles. They were once at the center of power. Then one day, the news stopped. Some were rumored executed. Others simply vanished. That night, I asked my wife carefully, did she know the Pyongyang news? She'd seen it. Ju-ae kept appearing. We sat in silence. Neither knew what to say. Days later, more news arrived. Through a Korean-Chinese contact. The atmosphere in Pyongyang was tense. Party officials were talking about Ju-ae constantly. Nothing official yet, but everyone knew. Hearing that, I was certain. This wasn't rumor. This was reality. Jong-un had made his decision. He would pass the crown to his daughter. I'm father's eldest son. Though pushed aside in succession, by bloodline I still carry meaning. Especially since Ju-ae is a girl. North Korea remains a male-centered society. If military or party officials harbored resentment, who would they seek out? Someone like me. That would make me a threat automatically, whether I wanted it or not. Even doing nothing, my existence itself became dangerous. And in North Korea, threats are eliminated. I started losing sleep, looking out the window, wondering, was someone watching me? That's when I first realized I was no longer safe. Living quietly wouldn't guarantee survival. My name, my bloodline, my very existence had become a crime. To wear the crown, you must eliminate the shadows. And I was the biggest shadow. It didn't take long for that anxiety to become real. One cold winter night, A message came from an unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but that day something told me to look. The message was brief. Just one line, "Brother, protection has been lifted." That was all. I didn't know who sent it. But instinct told me. This was a warning. My hands trembled. Protection lifted. What did that mean? North Koreans living abroad with special status receive nominal protection. Everyone knows it's surveillance, but it's also a safety measure. Being protected means you're still worth keeping alive. But now that protection was gone, the message was simple. I'd become a target for elimination. My mind raced. Was this real? But it was too specific to be a joke. And the number clearly came through encrypted channels. Early next morning, another message arrived. Longer this time. This time, no exceptions, even abroad. Family included. Be careful. And the number was blocked. Family included. Cold sweat broke out. I'd prepared myself for danger. But my wife and daughter, too. My child was still young. What crime had she committed? That morning, looking in the mirror, my face seemed strange. Dark circles under my eyes, more gray in my hair. I'd aged in just days. I debated telling my wife. Finally, I spoke carefully. We might be in danger. We need to be careful. She stayed calm, just nodded and asked, "How dangerous? What should we do?" After that day, I changed. Every time I went out, I scanned my surroundings. Was someone following? Were strange cars parked near our house? I changed my daughter's school route. The handler stopped coming. That scared me more. He used to visit 2 or 3 times weekly. Now, suddenly silent, as if he'd given up on me. No, as if I no longer needed managing. Lying in bed at night, all kinds of thoughts flooded in. Would I wake up tomorrow morning? Would my daughter come home safely from school? That's when I first understood. Something worse than death exists. Losing your family. I could accept dying. But if my wife and daughter got hurt because of me, that I couldn't accept. That night, I made a decision. We had to run. The decision was made, but execution wasn't easy. Where could we go? Other European countries were still within North Korea's reach. One option remained, Korea. But going to Korea wasn't a simple decision. It meant a completely different life, completely turning our backs on North Korea. That night, after my daughter fell asleep, I sat facing my wife. Cold winter wind blew outside. I sat in silence for a while, then spoke. "I think we need to go to Korea." My wife wasn't surprised. She nodded as if she'd expected it. Asked how dangerous it was. I answered honestly, "If we stay here, our entire family is in danger." My wife was silent for a moment, then asked, "Would we really be safe in Korea?" I couldn't be certain. But I said at least it would be better than here. She asked again, "Could we ever come back? Would we see our homeland again?" I shook my head. Probably never. Going to Korea meant losing everything. Then my wife said something. "Wealth and status don't matter. What matters is the 3 of us staying together. If our daughter can grow up safely, that's enough." Those words made my eyes well up. We talked late into the night. How to get to Korea? Who to ask for help? Everything was uncertain, but one thing was clear. We couldn't delay any longer. Next morning, I told my daughter carefully. We'd be moving soon, somewhere far away. She asked where. I smiled and said, "The place you've wanted to visit." Her eyes sparkled. "Korea?" I nodded. She left for school happily. Watching her go, I thought. I have to protect that child. That day, preparations began. First, I needed someone trustworthy. I couldn't contact the Korean embassy directly. Too dangerous. I needed a middleman. After much thought, one person came to mind. A Korean-Chinese businessman I'd met years ago. He knew various channels. I couldn't fully trust him, but I had no choice. I reached out carefully. We met at a quiet cafe on the city outskirts. When I said I wanted to go to Korea, he looked stunned, stared at me, then asked, "Are you serious?" I answered firmly, "I have to protect my family." That night, walking home, I looked up at the sky. So many stars. I was taking a path I could never return from. The Korean-Chinese businessman moved quickly. 3 days later, contact came. There was someone to meet. Someone with Korean connections. I asked carefully, "Can we trust them?" He hesitated, then answered, "Not certain, but there's no other way." A week later, we met in a hotel lobby on the city outskirts. I wore my hat low, constantly watching my surroundings. At the appointed time, the businessman appeared. With a middle-aged man. Looked Korean. We moved to a quiet spot. The man spoke first. He helps North Korean defectors. I carefully explained our situation. Hid my identity. Just said I was a North Korean in danger. The man nodded and asked, "How many family members? When do you want to leave?" I answered, "3 of us, as soon as possible." He said he could arrange it within a week. There's a route from Europe through a third country to Korea. But money was needed, not a small amount. I had no choice. I agreed. The man smiled, satisfied, and stood. He'd contact me again in 3 days. That night, the walk home felt strange. Someone seemed to be following. I took a longer route home than usual. 3 days passed. The promised contact never came. Instead, an urgent message arrived from the Korean-Chinese businessman. "We need to meet right now." I rushed out. He looked pale. Voice trembling, he said, "The plan leaked. Someone knows." My heart sank. How did they find out? He didn't know either. But the Korean contact from days ago suddenly went silent, and strange people were circling around him. In that moment, I knew. We were being watched. Maybe from the very beginning. The hotel meeting, all of it might have been exposed. I rushed home, told my wife. The plan's been compromised. She looked alarmed. "What do we do now?" I didn't know. But one thing was certain. We couldn't stay here any longer. That night, I couldn't sleep. Looking out the window, I saw a strange car parked outside. A car that hadn't been there before. It stayed until dawn. That's when I knew we were already being hunted. The plan had collapsed, but I couldn't give up. The problem was, I no longer knew who to trust. Days later, contact came from an unexpected source. A Chinese businessman I'd met years ago. Someone in an ambiguous position, dealing with both North Korea and South Korea. He sent a message. "Heard about your situation. If you need help, let me know." I was suspicious. How did he know? But I had no other options. Carefully, I went to his office. We needed someplace more discreet. He said he'd heard rumors about me trying to get to Korea. I didn't deny it. He continued. He knew a route. Could get us there safely. But it would cost a lot. We'd need to move fast. People were already looking for me. I asked, "Why help me?" He answered honestly, "Money." Then added, "But I don't want to see you die." I couldn't tell if he was sincere, but I had to choose. That night, I consulted my wife. She asked, "Can we trust him?" I shook my head. "We can't trust him, but we have no other option." My wife sighed and said, "Then let's go. Let's take the gamble." Next day, I contacted him. "I'm in." He said he'd have everything ready within a week. That week felt endless. Every night I checked the window. Strange cars still appeared occasionally. I told my daughter we'd be traveling soon. A long trip. She got excited and asked, "Are we really going to Korea?" I nodded and said, "But you can't tell anyone." She nodded and made a zipping motion across her lips. Watching her, my heart ached. A week passed. The broker contacted me. "Ready? We leave in 2 days." At night, our family walked through the house. We'd lived here for years, but now we had to leave. We packed only essentials. 1 large bag each. Everything else had to stay. Photos, books, everything left behind. It was the last night. The 3 of us sat in the living room. No one spoke. Dawn came. Time to go. It was 5 in the morning. We left the house quietly. Just 3 bags. I closed the door to the home we'd lived in for years. Left the key in the mailbox. Called a taxi. A different company than usual. To avoid surveillance. In the taxi, we were silent. On the way to the airport, I kept looking back. Fortunately, no suspicious cars appeared. We arrived at the airport. The meeting place the broker set was the departure hall entrance. At the appointed time, the broker appeared with a young woman. She'd be our guide. The broker spoke quietly. "Follow her," then added one last thing. "Brother, stay alert until the very end." We followed the woman into the departure hall. Passed through passport control. Security screening. Everything went smoothly. We entered the duty-free area. The woman said, "Now, just wait until boarding time." We went to the boarding gate. Sat in a quiet corner. My daughter dozed off, leaning against my wife. Then it happened. I saw a familiar face in the distance. The handler. The first time I'd seen him in months. I froze instantly. The handler saw me too. Our eyes met. He walked slowly toward us. My heart pounded wildly. The handler stood before us. For a moment he said nothing. Then he spoke quietly. "Brother, safe travels." That was all. He turned and disappeared. I didn't understand what it meant. Why didn't he stop us? All kinds of thoughts raced through my mind. My wife squeezed my hand tight. She was trembling. The boarding announcement came. Our flight? People lined up. We stood. Walking to the gate, I kept looking back. But no one was there. Tickets checked, we boarded the plane. Took our seats. The plane door closed. Fastened our seatbelts. Engine sounds. The plane started moving. Onto the runway. Speed increased. And finally, takeoff. Outside the window, the city grew smaller. Up above the clouds. Only then could I breathe properly. I looked at my wife. We gazed at each other wordlessly. Tears came. My daughter looked out the window. "Dad, are we really going to Korea?" I nodded. "Yes, we're really going." The plane kept flying, a path with no return. But I had no regrets, because we survived. The plane landed at Incheon Airport. The moment the wheels touched ground, I knew. We were truly safe now. We exited the airport. South Korean government officials were waiting. We moved to a separate area. Identity verification. When I revealed who I was, the officials' faces showed shock. But they quickly regained composure. Said they'd protect us safely. That night, we went to government-arranged accommodations. For the first time in forever, I slept peacefully. No fear of someone knocking on the door. Next morning, I opened the window. Seoul's morning view spread out. People commuting. Cars moving. Ordinary life unfolding. An ordinary morning in a free country. Days later, we entered Hanwon, where North Korean defectors learn about South Korean life. We prepared for our new life there, too. At first, everything felt strange. The way of speaking, food tastes, lifestyle. It was fascinating that convenience stores stayed open 24 hours, that you could buy anything online. But the most amazing thing was freedom. No one knew who I was. Even if they did, it didn't matter. Here, my past wasn't a crime. My daughter adapted quickly. Started going to school. Every day she excitedly talked about school. Watching her laugh freely, run around, dream, I thought. We made the right choice. My wife gradually found stability too. At first she often cried, missing home. Missing family left behind in Pyongyang. I felt the same, but we both knew. We couldn't go back. One day, our family walked along the Han River. Many people biking, strolling, enjoying leisure. Watching that scene, I thought, this is peace. My daughter asked, "Dad, will people in North Korea ever live like this?" I held her hand and answered, "They will. Someday, everyone will live freely together." Even now, I sometimes wonder, was my choice right? But seeing my daughter smile, I'm certain. I'm no longer a ghost. I could never be king. Never wanted to be. I'm just Kim Jong-chul, an ordinary father living with his family in Korea. There's a reason I'm sharing this story with you. Many people in North Korea still dream of freedom. I hope someday our nation will reunite. Waiting for that day, I continue living here today, freely. If this story touched you, please subscribe and like. Thank you.